Hi, welcome back. Certainly glad you could join me today, because today I have a special treat for you. Every so often we have a young man on the show that he's just done some fantastic paintings, and we just get hundreds of letters about this young man. In fact, I had a letter from a lady the other day. She says, why don't you give him his own series, because he explains things better than you do. Well, he's after my job. So today, it's my pleasure, and I'm just proud as any father could be, to introduce my son Steve to you. And I'm going to turn Steve loose here. He's going to show you how to do a fantastic painting in just a couple of minutes. So I tell you what, I'm going to turn it over to Steve, and I'll see you later. Steve?
Thanks, Dan. Today we're going to do something a little bit different, and they're going to be running the colors across the bottom of the screen for you. I'm going to leave the top sort of like open vignette effect this time and let the sky just mist out into the painting. So let's start out with a little bit of phthalo blue, and just tapping very little into my brush. And just going to put sort of a circular pattern of that up in here. Try to leave a couple light areas if you can. That helps add a little character to your sky. And maybe a little bit of water at the same time. Okay, now I'm just going to start blending in my light area and trying to push that light right out into the dark. And you just want your edges up at the top to sort of blend out into the rest of the painting. Now if you start getting any streaks or anything, you might need to wash your brush in between blending. Okay. Now I'm going to start with the fan brush and just load up a little bit of titanium white. And we'll drop a little cloud right in here. Just some little circular motions. Remember to try to keep the top of the cloud nice and fluffy, and the bottom of it should be sort of flat, and maybe trying to lead the eye into the center of the painting, sort of coming down like this into the center. Okay, and don't be too particular on those clouds, because you want to make them just as quick as you can, or they come out just a tiny bit too perfect sometimes, too symmetrical. Now I'm just going in with the big brush and blending out the bottom of the cloud. Lifting up the top very gently. And you just go across it as light as possible. That kind of sets it down into the painting. Now with that same dirty fan brush, I can go into a little bit more titanium white and some more phthalo blue and a little bit of midnight black. And when you mix that together, you end up with sort of a light blue color. That'll be for our background pine trees. And again, trying to lead the eye into the center of the painting. So you're coming down in sort of a V pattern. I try to establish the pattern first and then go back and make the trees more detailed. Notice how they get smaller towards the center. That does help a lot. Then you can go in and make some little pointy tops like that and just barely touch the brush with the corner and make some pine tree indications. Now remember, these are real far off, so you don't want to see too much detail. We'll work on that just a little later. It's kind of neat the way this painting came about, because to be honest with you, I waited till about the last day before I was going to be on TV, and was just sitting around with a buddy of mine and decided, well, I'm going to have to come up with something here, and this is what I came up with, kind of a top vignette idea, but the bottom stays full, which I thought that was kind of different, kind of neat. Always trying to find new ideas. Speaking of new ideas, we had a lot of people in our last seminar that we had out in New London, Connecticut do a really good job. We're making all kinds of certified instructors out there. So there'll be lots of people coming around teaching this technique. Okay, that ought to be enough on the pine trees. Now let's go up with the 2-inch brush and do a little bit of mist. Always use the tip of the brush, that way you get a nice variation of mist rather than one straight line. And we can load the fan brush with a little bit more of that same color. Maybe you'd want to add just a tiny bit more blue. A lot of this is up to you. You know, if I say you need to add something and you don't feel that you need to in your painting, it's your world, do anything you want. This is kind of just to give you a guideline to go by. These are real easy hills, we're just tapping them in. Tap straight down with the brush, and then you can just mist out the bottom of them. Maybe we'll do one more row of those. We're looking to get the lay of the land kind of in a circular pattern around the bottom like this. So I'm trying to follow that line. Okay. Now I can go back and pull a reflection out of that with the big brush. Maybe I'd want to darken that just a little bit more phthalo blue. Reflections are so important in this painting because it really doesn't have a whole lot in it on this right-hand side, so that reflection is going to be showing quite a bit. Okay, let me just go over that. Okay, now I can drop a little shoreline in there, just using a little bit of liquid white on the knife, and kind of spread that around on your palette a little bit, and just cut across it. Now you're just kind of sawing the line in, and make it come around the bend, drop lower on the left and right hand corners than in the middle. And try to keep them as straight as possible. Okay, so you end up with something like this. Now we can go in with a dark tree shape, just using that same old dirty big brush, except for we're going to mix up a new color now. This will be sap green, midnight black, and just a touch of that phthalo blue. Quite a bit of midnight black in that.